Imagine waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror, and realizing your hair looks like it has been electrocuted by a toaster that just discovered caffeine. Most people would groan, panic, and spend 20 minutes wrestling it with gel, mousse, or prayers to the gods of good hair. But what if I told you, according to an ancient teaching that has been whispered about for over 2,000 years, that messy hair is not just messy hair, it is actually a reflection of your mind? And no, I am not saying your brain was struck by lightning in the night, although that would explain a lot. I am saying the Hermetic Principle of Mentalism claims that everything in your life, your relationships, your bank account, your coffee addiction, your bad hair days, is literally created by your thoughts. Not just influenced, not just mildly decorated, created. Reality, according to this principle, is basically your mind's Netflix series, except you do not get to binge watch it, you have to live in it, and there is no skip intro button. The Hermetic Principle of Mentalism comes from the Hermetica, a collection of teachings supposedly passed down by Hermes Trismegistus, a figure who is part Greek god, part Egyptian deity, and part guy who would probably crush you at pub quizzes. The first principle says, "The all is mind. The universe is mental." In normal people language, that means everything starts in thought. The universe is like a giant mental projection, and you are both the projector and the film reel. If this sounds like the Matrix, but with fewer leather trench coats, you are not wrong. Now, when people hear thoughts create reality, the first thing they think is, cool, I will think about £1,000,000 and it will appear. Unfortunately, no. That is like saying if you hum a song, Beyoncé will show up and sing backup for you. The principle is not about instant magic tricks. It is about the fact that the physical world is shaped over time by patterns of thought. Your beliefs, your expectations, and your mental images are like software code running the simulation of your life. Science actually backs this up more than you might think. Neuroscience has shown that your brain is basically a meaning-making machine. It does not just record reality like a camera, it edits, filters, and rewrites the footage before you are even aware of it. This is called top-down processing, where your brain uses what it expects to see to decide what you will see. In other words, your mind is photoshopping reality in real time, and you are buying the unedited version without realizing it. Quantum physics takes this a step further with the observer effect, where the act of observing changes the outcome of what is observed. Particles behave differently when measured than when they are not, suggesting that consciousness plays a role in shaping what happens. Now, physicists will fight you to the death if you oversimplify this into, I think of a sports car and the universe delivers it. But the overlap with the Hermetic idea that mind precedes matter is hard to ignore. Psychology joins the party with the self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe something strongly enough, your actions, often unconsciously, align to make it happen. Think you are bad at public speaking? You will get nervous, forget your words, and prove yourself right. Think you are charismatic? You will relax, smile, and suddenly everyone is leaning in like you are the most fascinating TED Talk they have ever heard. So how do you actually use the Hermetic Principle of Mentalism without turning into that one friend who insists their crystal collection is the reason they have perfect parking karma? First, you need to understand that your conscious thoughts are only the tip of the iceberg. The real programming happens in the subconscious, the deep basement of your mind where beliefs and mental habits live rent-free. You cannot just sprinkle positive affirmations on top of a mountain of negative beliefs and expect change. That is like putting whipped cream on a plate of raw broccoli and calling it dessert. You have to reprogram the deeper layers. This is where visualization, meditation, and repetition come in. Neuroscience shows that the brain cannot easily tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. Athletes use this all the time. Olympic skiers mentally rehearse their runs, activating the same neural circuits as actually skiing. Over time, this changes the brain's wiring, a concept called neuroplasticity. You can literally sculpt your brain with thought. The Hermetic masters knew this without MRI scans. They taught that holding a mental image with emotion and clarity plants a seed in the universal mind. The more you focus on it, the more it shapes the patterns of your reality. This is not about wishful thinking, it is about disciplined thinking. Imagine your mind is a Spotify playlist. If you keep replaying the same sad breakup songs, you cannot be shocked when your emotional life feels like a 90s rom-com where the dog dies in the end. You have to deliberately add tracks that match the life you want. There is also the issue of mental hygiene. You would not eat food off the floor of a petrol station bathroom, so why feed your mind trashy, fear-driven thoughts all day? Every news headline screaming disaster, every doom-scrolling session, every self-deprecating joke you take too seriously. These are like malware in your mental operating system. The Hermetic approach is to become the gatekeeper of your mind. Only let in thoughts that serve the reality you want to experience. One of the most practical strategies is to use mental transmutation, another Hermetic concept, which means changing the quality of your thoughts. Catch yourself thinking, "I am terrible at this," and consciously shift it to, "I am learning how to get better at this." It sounds small, but over time, this rewires your inner dialogue and changes how you show up in the world. You might be wondering, but what about bad stuff that happens to me that I did not think about? This is where the principle gets more nuanced. It is not saying you personally imagined every pothole you hit or every tax bill you received. It is saying the collective reality we live in, the whole human mind soup, creates the larger patterns of the world. You are contributing to that soup with your individual thoughts, but you are also swimming in everyone else's thoughts. That is why changing your mind is powerful, but changing many minds is world-changing. Modern research even supports the idea that collective focus has measurable effects. Studies on group meditation have shown drops in crime rates in cities where a small percentage of the population meditated on peace at the same time. Again, it is not about magic. It is about the interconnectedness of human minds influencing behavior on a large scale. The Hermetic Principle of Mentalism also reminds you to take responsibility. If the mind is primary, then your life is not just something that happens to you, it is something you are co-creating, whether you are aware of it or not. This is both terrifying and empowering. Terrifying because it means you cannot totally blame your ex, your boss, or your Wi-Fi provider for your misery. Empowering because it means you are not helpless. You can start steering the ship immediately. Here's a simple way to start applying it. Step 1. Become aware of your mental patterns. Keep a thought audit for a day. Every time you catch yourself thinking something negative, note it down. You will be shocked at how often your inner monologue sounds like a grumpy old man complaining about the weather. Step 2. Pick one recurring negative thought and flip it. Replace "I am always late" with "I am becoming more punctual every day." Step 3. Visualize yourself living the flipped version, adding as much sensory detail as possible. Feel the relief of arriving early, smell the coffee you have time to buy, hear yourself casually saying, "Oh, I was just in the neighborhood," like you are some kind of punctuality ninja. The key is repetition. The more you rehearse the new mental state, the more your brain treats it as reality, and the more your actions line up to make it true. And yes, some people will roll their eyes and say, "That is just positive thinking." But the Hermetic masters would reply, "Yes, and positive thinking is just conscious creation of reality." The difference between fluff and power is discipline. You cannot just do this once and expect your life to be transformed. You have to make it a mental lifestyle. The principle also warns about the dangers of unconscious creation. If you do not deliberately choose your thoughts, they will be chosen for you by your environment, your upbringing, and your social media feed. Before you know it, you are living someone else's idea of reality, wondering why it feels like a badly written sitcom. The bottom line? The Hermetic Principle of Mentalism is not telling you that you are a wizard who can conjure gold bars with a thought. It is telling you that your inner world is the template for your outer world, and science agrees that the mind is the architect of experience. Train the architect, and you change the building. Ignore the architect, and you get a lopsided shed that smells faintly of regret. So start treating your thoughts like the VIP list at the most exclusive club in the universe. Your reality. Only let in the ones that deserve a spot on the dance floor. Kick out the ones spilling drinks on the carpet. And remember, the music you play in your head will set the tone for the whole party. That is the Hermetic Principle of Mentalism in action. Ancient wisdom, modern science, and a sprinkle of stop thinking like a disaster magnet. Now go ahead, try it. Audit your thoughts, flip the bad ones, visualize the good ones, and watch how your reality starts to change shape like a self-repairing video game. And if your hair still looks like it lost a fight with an electrical socket tomorrow morning, at least you can laugh about it, because you will know that today's thought is tomorrow's look. Which means, maybe start imagining great hair now. If you enjoyed this little roller coaster between ancient Egypt, quantum physics, and your brain's weird editing habits, drop your thoughts. Yes, the ones you want to keep, in the comments, and let us know how you see the mind-shaping reality in your own life. Then hit that subscribe button for more fast, funny, and genius-level explanations here on XQ, where we turn, I never thought of it that way, into your new favorite thought.